The Waldorf Astoria's grand ballroom glittered with New York's elite as they gathered to celebrate my father's 65th birthday. From my assigned seat at the staff table, tucked away near the kitchen entrance, I watched the carefully choreographed display of wealth and status unfold. "Emma, darling," my father's voice dripped with mock concern as he passed by. "Feeling comfortable with your peers?" He gestured to the service staff seated around me, earning chuckles from his business associates. I smoothed down my intentionally modest-looking dress, actually a custom Chanel piece that cost more than his monthly salary, and smiled. "Perfectly comfortable, Dad. Someone needs to keep an eye on the kitchen timing." "Always the practical one," he smirked. "Though I suppose that's all you're really suited for, isn't it? After turning down the VP position at Morrison Enterprises to start your, what do you call it? Data analytics firm," I supplied quietly, not mentioning that Phoenix Technologies had become one of the most powerful tech companies in the world, operating under various shell corporations to maintain my anonymity. "Right, your little computer business," he waved dismissively. "Well, at least you can make yourself useful tonight. The servers could use some direction from someone who speaks their language." My phone buzzed discreetly, another message from my SU. "Merger paperwork complete. Phoenix Technologies' acquisition of Morrison Enterprises finalized. Stock market announcement scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Should we proceed with the evening news coverage?" I glanced at the ornate clock on the wall. 8:45 p.m. In 15 minutes, my father would discover that his practical daughter had just acquired his company in a $4 billion merger deal. "Emma," my brother James called out, his trophy wife giggling on his arm. "Still playing with spreadsheets while the rest of us run real businesses?" If he only knew that his real business, a chain of luxury car dealerships, had been secretly owned by one of my holding companies for the past year. Every boast about his success had actually been celebrating my investment strategies. "Someone has to keep track of the numbers," I replied mildly, watching him preen in his custom suit, bought with profits from my company. My mother floated over, champagne in hand. "Darling, couldn't you at least try to mingle with the proper crowd? Mr. Chin from Phoenix Technologies is coming tonight. Your father's been trying to arrange a meeting for months." I bit back a smile, knowing that Mr. Chin was actually my employee, carefully positioned to handle public negotiations while I pulled the strings from the shadows. The meeting my father had been pursuing was just another piece in my elaborate chess game. "I'm quite comfortable here, Mother," I assured her, checking my watch again. 8:50 p.m. The large screens around the ballroom, meant to display birthday tributes, were quietly being prepared for the breaking news that would shock the gathering. My father had insisted on having live business updates displayed throughout the evening, a decision that would soon prove deliciously ironic. "Remember when Emma tried to suggest changes to Dad's tech infrastructure?" James was telling a group of executives. "She actually thought her little data company could handle enterprise-level systems." The executives laughed politely, unaware that Phoenix Technologies now powered most of their own company's operations through various subsidiaries. 8:55 p.m. The service staff, all actually senior analysts from my company, positioned strategically throughout the room, began their final preparations. Each had been carefully briefed on their role in the evening's revelation. "Ladies and gentlemen," the MC announced, "please direct your attention to the screens for the evening business update as requested by our honored host." My father stood proudly near the main table, champagne in hand, expecting to see his company's stock prices displayed. Instead, the breaking news banner flashed across the screen. "Breaking. Phoenix Technologies acquires Morrison Enterprises in $4 billion deal. Tech giants Mysterioso revealed. Wall Street stunned by Morrison takeover." The birthday cake knife froze mid-cut as my father's hand trembled. What is this?" I stood slowly, allowing my carefully maintained facade of mediocrity to fall away. "I believe, Dad, that's what they call a hostile takeover. Though in this case perhaps karmic takeover would be more appropriate." The silence that descended over the ballroom was absolute, broken only by the sound of my mother's champagne glass shattering on the marble floor. "This must be some kind of mistake," James sputtered, frantically checking his phone. "Phoenix Technologies is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They wouldn't." "Wouldn't what?" I asked calmly, walking toward the main table. "Wouldn't be run by your practical sister?" Wouldn't acquire Morrison Enterprises? Or wouldn't dare to reveal their CEO's identity during Dad's precious birthday party? The screens around the ballroom continued to flash with breaking news. Emma Morrison, tech's mysterious billionaire, steps into spotlight. Phoenix Technologies' empire revealed. How a small data firm became a global powerhouse. Morrison Enterprises stock soars 80% on acquisition news. My father gripped the edge of the table, his knuckles white. You're behind Phoenix Technologies? Among other things, I replied, nodding to Mr. Chin as he approached. Those luxury car dealerships James is so proud of? Owned by my subsidiary companies. The tech infrastructure you mocked me for suggesting? Already powering half of Wall Street through Phoenix subsidiaries. Mr. Chin bowed slightly. Ms. Morrison, the transition team is ready. Shall we begin the formal announcements? The crowd parted as I walked to the podium, years of hidden power evident in every step. The security team, my security team, moved into formation around the room, while my server colleagues revealed themselves as senior executives by removing their service uniforms to display impeccable business attire underneath. For those just catching up, I began, my voice carrying across the stunned silence, let me introduce myself properly. I'm Emma Morrison, founder and CEO of Phoenix Technologies. You might know us from our revolutionary AI systems, our quantum computing breakthroughs, or perhaps from the fact that we now own Morrison Enterprises. My mother swayed slightly, reaching for another champagne glass. But your little office in Brooklyn was a front, I explained, enjoying the dawning realization on their faces. Every simple project you mocked, every suggestion you dismissed, they were all test runs for Phoenix's global operations. While you were laughing at my little computer business, I was building one of the largest tech empires in the world. James pushed forward, his usual swagger replaced by desperate confusion. The car dealerships, how long have you owned them? I finished. About a year. Every boast about your incredible profits was actually celebrating my investment strategies. Though I have to thank you, your constant condescension made it incredibly easy to operate undetected. The screens displayed another update. Phoenix Technologies reveals global reach. Morrison acquisition just the tip of the iceberg. Wall Street scrambles as tech's greatest mystery is solved. Emma Morrison, from family outcast to tech titan. My father finally found his voice again, though it trembled with suppressed rage and shock. Why reveal this now? Why like this? I smiled, remembering all the birthday parties where I'd been seated with the staff. All the family events where my achievements were dismissed. Because timing is everything in business, Dad. Isn't that what you always taught me? Well, that and know your place. Though I suppose I finally do know my place. At the head of the company that just bought yours. The crowd murmured as financial alerts continued to flood everyone's phones. Morrison Enterprises stock was soaring on the news, though now those profits would flow to Phoenix Technologies. To me. Now, I continued from the podium, let's discuss the transition plan. Phoenix will be implementing several changes, starting with the technological infrastructure I proposed 3 years ago, the one Dad said showed my fundamental lack of business understanding. My father's face had turned an interesting shade of gray. The board will never approve. They already have, I cut in smoothly. Check your email. The board voted unanimously in favor of the acquisition this morning. Though they thought they were dealing with Phoenix's mysterious you, not your practical daughter who sits with the servers. The ballroom had transformed from a birthday celebration into what the media would later dub the Phoenix Revelation. Every executive who'd dismissed me, every board member who'd laughed at my suggestions, every family member who'd relegated me to the back of their events, all were now processing the seismic shift in power dynamics. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chin announced, I present the formal acquisition documents and transition plans. As of 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Morrison Enterprises is officially a subsidiary of Phoenix Technologies. I opened the leather portfolio he handed me, savoring the tension that filled the room. Let's review some key points, shall we? First, the executive restructuring. Dad, you'll be interested in page 3. It outlines your new position. My father's hands shook as he accepted the document. Advisory board member? But I'm the CEO. We're the CEO, I corrected gently. Don't worry, the retirement package is quite generous. Consider it a birthday gift from your practical daughter. James lurched forward, his perfect composure cracking. What about my position? The dealerships will continue operating under new management, I replied. Though perhaps with less emphasis on taking 3-hour lunch breaks and expensing personal vacations as business development. I smiled sweetly. Yes, brother dear, I've been monitoring those expense reports quite closely. The screens flashed with more breaking news. Phoenix Technologies announces major restructuring of Morrison Enterprises. Wall Street analysts predict record growth under new leadership. Tech World reacts to Emma Morrison's strategic masterstroke. My mother attempted her usual social damage control. Darling, this is extraordinary. We always knew you had potential. Did you? I turned to face her. Was that why you told the country club last month that I was still finding myself with my cute little startup? I was there, mother, installing the new security system through one of my small contracts. Amazing how invisible tech workers can be during social gatherings. The room had gone deathly quiet as I continued. Every dismissive comment, every condescending pat on the head, every invitation to sit with the staff, they all helped build this moment. While you were busy showing off your successful children, I was quietly becoming more successful than all of you combined. My phone buzzed continuously with updates. Emma Morrison's net worth revealed. Texu joins world's top billionaires. Phoenix Technologies' hidden empire exposed. Morrison family dynamics upended by billion-dollar revelation. I walked to the birthday cake, still frozen mid-cut where my father had abandoned it. Shall we continue the celebration? After all, it's not every day a father learns his disappointment of a daughter has become his boss. James attempted to salvage his position. Emma, about all those things I said. Save them, I cut him off. Your performance review is next week. Though I should warn you, Phoenix Technologies has very strict policies about personal expenses on company accounts. The reporters who'd come to cover a simple birthday party were now clamoring for exclusive interviews. Photographers who'd been instructed to focus on my successful siblings were fighting for shots of the real power in the room. Ms. Morrison, how does it feel to be revealed as tech's most mysterious innovator? What inspired you to build in secret? Was your family's dismissal part of your strategy? I stepped back to the microphone, my voice clear and confident. Success doesn't always look like what you expect. I chose to build Phoenix Technologies away from preconceptions and family expectations. Sometimes the greatest power lies in being underestimated. The ballroom buzzed with conversation as New York's elite recalibrated their understanding of power dynamics. The practical daughter who sat with servers had just revealed herself as one of the most influential figures in global technology. You know what's interesting? I addressed the room. Every time you seated me with the staff, I learned more about your operations. Every time you dismissed my ideas, I implemented them through Phoenix. Every time you mocked my little computer business, I acquired another company. My father stood rigid, his birthday celebration forgotten in the wake of this revelation. The AI developments, the quantum computing breakthroughs, the global tech infrastructure. All came from your practical daughter, I confirmed. Every innovation you praised in other companies, every technological advancement you admired, they all came from the mind you deemed inadequate. As the evening wound down, I found myself alone with my family in what was now my boardroom. The silence was heavy with unspoken realizations. Why? My father finally asked, his voice barely a whisper. Because you never would have let me succeed on my own terms, I replied. Every achievement would have been credited to your guidance. Every success attributed to the Morrison name rather than my own abilities. Sometimes the only way to prove yourself is to do it without the family spotlight. I gathered my things, ready to leave what had become my company's newest acquisition. The office opens at 9 tomorrow. I have a global tech empire to run. Or as Dad likes to say, my little computer business to manage. Walking toward the door, I paused for one final moment. Oh, and Dad, happy birthday. Don't worry about cutting the cake. I'm sure one of the actual servers can handle that. After all, that's where you always thought I belonged. As I reached the ballroom doors, the sound of breaking glass made me turn. James had slumped into a chair, knocking over a champagne tower. His perfect world, built on taking credit for my subsidiary's success, was crumbling around him. One more thing, I said, turning back. Those brilliant business strategies you've been bragging about at the country club? The ones that turned your dealerships around? I wrote those. Every single one. While sitting at the server's table watching you take credit for my work. My mother dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. But surely, darling, you'll keep the family name prominent in the business. Actually, I smiled, Phoenix Technologies is rebranding all Morrison properties effective immediately. The Morrison name will become a footnote in corporate history, just like you tried to make me a footnote in this family. I nodded to Mr. Chin, who distributed thick folders to each family member. Inside you'll find your new employment contracts, or in Dad's case, retirement terms. I've been particularly detailed about workplace behavior and hierarchical respect. No more relegating people to the server's table based on your perception of their worth. You can't just erase decades of business history, my father protested weakly. Watch me, I replied. After all, I built an empire while you thought I was writing basic code in Brooklyn. Imagine what I can do now that I don't have to hide anymore. The security team, my security team, stepped forward to escort my family out. As they left, I called out one final time, "Don't worry about next year's birthday party, Dad. I hear the server's table has an excellent view of the CEO's podium." The headlines would run for weeks, but nothing would match the satisfaction of that moment, when the daughter they seated with the staff revealed herself as the boss they'd have to answer to every day. Sometimes revenge doesn't just mean proving them wrong. It means becoming their superior in every way they thought you were inferior.